That's nasty.
Welcome back, guys. It's your boy Chuck Nasty on Fantasy Football. Of course, fantasy is effectively over. So we're going to go through a divisional preview of each of the matchups going on today, Saturday, and tomorrow, Sunday, to get down to the final four teams playing for the championships. So let's look at each individual matchup. We're going to go over it. I'll give you my predictions on it and how each team got to where they're at. Packers against Seahawks. How did the Packers get here? Well, they're 13-3. They've got 3 total losses. 49ers, Chargers, and Eagles. And they're a pretty good team. They don't exactly strike me as a Super Bowl caliber team, but anything can happen in the playoffs. The biggest addition for them this year was the offseason adds of Zadarius Smith from the Ravens and Preston Smith from the Redskins, because they have juiced up this pass rush. The emergence of Aaron Jones in the run game, he got some additional passing game work this year. He's explosive, can be dangerous. The split tandem with Jamal Williams, pretty solid as well. And then obviously they have a great wide receiver in Devontae Adams, but wide receivers other than Devontae have not really been anything special. So they are matching up against the Seattle Seahawks, who are 12-5. How did they get here? Well, the easiest way to look at it is Jadeveon Clowney knocked out Carson Wentz in the first quarter last week. And yeah, they're good, but they're banged up a little bit. I'm not sure that they can go all the way either. How is this game going to finish? Well, when the Packers have the ball, Zadarius Smith is going to line up somewhere between the edge and 3 technique. Patton will pretend like he's going to have 5 to 6 pass rushers. He's going to drop 1 to 2 in his zones, and then he's going to rush 3. And the great part about this, because Seattle's O-line is so banged up, is that Zadarius Smith and Preston are both so good in, 3-man rushes that they're going to get to Russell a lot and force him to scramble. Now, Russell Wilson's obviously very good at scrambling, so maybe this dynamic changes a little bit, but the Packers have had the Seahawks number at Lambeau. Russell has never won a game at Lambeau Field. All of the games in the past have been very close. And, my prediction is that if Seattle plays the same way they did on Sunday against the Eagles, they're going to get smoked. Now, because Russell has never won a game at Lambeau, there's kind of this momentum deal. The Packers are great at home. All they need to do is no funny business. Let Preston and Zadarius Smith do their thing on 3-man rushes, get to the quarterback, and Aaron Rodgers has a decent day, and they should win this game. In the next matchup, we got the Ravens against the Titans in Baltimore on the AFC side. How did the Ravens get here? Well, they're 14-2. They've got 2 losses to the Browns and the Chiefs, and this one's pretty simple. Lamar Jackson and this offense have forced other NFL teams to re-look at how they view opposing quarterbacks. This Lamar Jackson option, where they have the ability to pass the ball, hold it, or hand it off to Mark Ingram, forces the defender to make a decision at the line of scrimmage. Split time decision. It has to be right then and there. If he makes the wrong decision, they're getting burned. People have had trouble dealing with that this year. How did the Titans get here? Well, they're 10-7. They've losses to the Saints, Panthers, Broncos, Jaguars, Colts, Bills, and Texans. But somehow they came through and beat the no longer dynasty New England Patriots in Foxborough and kept the game close by getting the majority of their big plays out of Derrick Henry. That oversized running back rushed 34 times for 182 yards and a touchdown. What would be a better cherry on top to end the Patriots dynasty than to have an ex-Patriots cornerback, Logan Ryan, get a pick 6 with 15 seconds left to seal the game? Oh, wait, that actually happened. So, how does this game go when the Titans have the ball against the Ravens? Well, see the 34 rushes of Derrick Henry for 182 yards and a touchdown in the prior matchup? Yeah, they're going to run it. They're going to run it a lot. But they're going to need more than 75 yards or whatever passing yards Ryan Tannehill had in the last game, because there's a good chance that they're going to be behind in this one. The Ravens secondary is pretty good. Earl Thomas, Marlon Humphreys, Marcus Peters acquired in the offseason from the Rams, Jimmy Smith. When Tannehill is forced to throw the ball, one of these guys is going to make a play. How does it go when the Ravens have the ball? Well, I guess that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? This inside-outside option running offense is tough to predict. Nobody knows if Lamar Jackson's going to keep it or if he's going to hand it off. And every now and again, they fly Hollywood up the backside anyways. Lamar keeps the option, and he chucks it to Hollywood, who has burned, his defender. Now, the Titans have a good secondary, so I would imagine most of their yards are going to come on the ground, but they're probably going to have a couple of big plays through the air as well. So, given the fact that the defender has to make that read at the line of scrimmage on that Lamar Jackson option, it's going to be so deadly. I just don't see any way, unless the Titans are somehow destined to win the Super Bowl this year, I just don't see it happening. Maybe it's because... So option A is the Titans are destined to win the Super Bowl, right? Beat the Patriots at Foxborough, go on, upset the Ravens, come through the Chiefs, and here they are on the AFC side. Or option B is they're a good team, not a great team. They beat the Patriots, who are no longer a dynasty-relevant team because they're just not that good anymore, and they're going to get blown out by the Ravens. I'm going to go for the latter on this one. So my prediction is Baltimore wins this game. But let's go to the other side again. The 49ers against the Vikings in San Fran. How did the Niners get here? They're 13-3 in games this season. They've lost 3 games by a grand total of 13 points combined. That is a good football team. They have one of the best defensive fronts in football, and they have spent years trying to develop it in draft stock. The best part about this is that the bye week that they had in the first round, coupled with their home field advantage, this is where it provides a really, really big advantage. They took that extra week off. They've reactivated Quan Alexander, who is great. D Ford has a chance to come back with a hamstring. I think he's 50-50 right now, but that would add another piece to the pass rush. And then Jaquiski Tart. I'm sorry. I get them all mixed up. He's got a rib injury. He's probable to play also. It's huge. The team is good. The defense is better. Jimmy Garoppolo's kind of a system quarterback, but I don't know that they're going to need to do a ton to beat the Vikings at home. How did the Vikings get here? Well, they're 11-6. Kirk Cousins finally won a playoff game, but it seems like that playoff game against the Saints fell more on the backs of Danielle Hunter and Everson Griffin than it did on actual Kirk Cousins. Most of the work on offense was Kirk Cousins handing the ball to Dalvin Cook, and Cousins not making a game-changing detrimental mistake, but he did throw the game-winning touchdown to Kyle Rudolph at the end on a questionable push-off that might have come back. So, how does this game go when the Vikings have the ball? If the Niners have D Ford and Quan Alexander back, they've got Jaquiski Tart, Stefanski, and the Vikings are going to have trouble punching holes in the running game. So, they're going to have to throw the ball, or they're going to have to find some way to create space for Dalvin Cook. When the Niners have the ball, how is this going to go? Well, the Niners use a ton of constricted formations. They have fullback sets, 2 tight end sets. This is to try to create space around the edges. They're probably going to run the ball a decent chunk with Raheem Mostert, Tevin Coleman, maybe get a run-pass option with Matt Breida in there. But you need to look at where the Vikings' strengths and weaknesses have been this year. And their biggest weakness, which is a total shock because they still have, for the most part, pretty similar secondary to what they had last year, is Xavier Rhodes has been getting torched on deep pass plays. Same with Trey Waynes. But is Jimmy Garoppolo the guy to throw deep on those guys? That I'm not sure. I know that they can beat the Vikings through the air, given their secondary's lack of success this year, but I think it's going to be a pretty balanced workload between the two of those. look for Debo, look for Emmanuel, maybe even Kendrick Bourne to have a big play on this secondary. My predicted outcome for this game is the importance of home field advantage mixed with a first-round bye. Gets 3 really good top-notch defenders back, and I think that the Niners are the ones that take this one down. Let's move on to the next matchup. Kansas City against the Houston Texans. Now, how did the Chiefs get here? They're 12-4. They had a midseason injury to Patrick Mahomes. It almost cost them their season. They have losses to the Titans, Packers, Texans, and Colts. But more importantly, they won 6 straight to get into the playoffs and to secure the number 2 seed on the AFC side. Mecole Hardman's been a big play guy. Damian Williams has had multiple big run games. And Tyreek Hill is a big play guy. So let's look at the other side. How did the Texans get here? Well, they're 11-6. They have losses to the Titans, Broncos, Ravens, Colts, Panthers, and Saints. And they were getting crushed for 2.5 quarters last week against the Bills. I'll be honest, I thought the Bills were going to win that. Somehow, Deshaun Watson, DeAndre Hopkins, and J.J. Watt put the entire Houston Texans team on their back and came back to win in overtime. The Texans have already beaten the Chiefs this year, but there was a ton of flags in that game, among other issues. I'm not confident that the Texans can actually win this one, but when the Texans have the ball, what are they going to do? Watson's going to do what he does best, scramble. The Chiefs have some of their best pass rushers back, Frank Clark, Chris Jones to stop the run. The Texans are going to have a balanced run and pass game split. They want to get the lead early so they're not forced to play from behind, and then he ends up throwing deep into the Honey Badger and Tyrann Mathieu. So if you can get the lead early, it's going to help them a lot. It's going to be difficult to come from behind against this team, but we'll see. When the Chiefs have the ball, they have the most 40-plus yard plays in the NFL this year. So look for Mecole Hardman, Tyreek Hill, or maybe even Damian Williams to rip a big one off. Travis Kelce is a walking mismatch. I mean, he's too good. J.J. Watt's not going to be able to cover him. So the Texans are going to have to figure out a game plan to try to cover Travis Kelce. My prediction in this game, Mahomes was hurt in Week 6 when they played. There were too many flags. And unless Deshaun Watson pulls off some sort of late season miracle, the Chiefs are going to take this one at home. That's all I've got. If you guys are new to the channel, smash the bell, ring the bell, touch the bell, like the bell, whatever. Subscribe to the channel. We drop fantasy football related NFL stuff every single week. We're going to be going down to 1 video a week in the off season. And then when we start getting into fantasy drafts, I'll be providing draft kits for you guys on players to target, not to target. It'll be good. I'm here to help. Subscribe to the channel. Drop any comments down below that you have. Appreciate you watching the video, and let's watch some football.
Guess we'll see you around.
All right, check you later.